He fumed at his father whenever he talked to him about getting married. He had no desire for women and wasn't ready to settle down with any. But how will you live your life without a woman? His father would question him, and his response remains the same, saying, "The company will be my companion till the end of time." His father eventually leaves him to deal with his personality. One early morning while in his office car getting ride to the company, he looks focused, thinking about the contract he was going to sign in a while, when suddenly his body bumped forward because of his driver's breakover. He wanted to be furious at him and decided to be calm because of his happy moment for the day. So his driver apologized immediately while shouting at a lady picking her roasted plantains. The lady got up angrily and stood beside the car mirror, banging it simultaneously. You could tell that she was furious and having the intention of breaking the glass. The driver rolled down and lambasted her back in a hot argument, causing Michael to spew out angrily at them for the unnecessary delay. "Get your stupid brain reset, old man, and drive me out of here this moment," he screamed. His driver apologized immediately and then scorned the lady, who stood there speechlessly at that point, staring at Michael. She couldn't believe his actions when he was supposed to apologize for what had happened to her. Before she could utter a word, the car drove off and she instantly ran after it, cursing the driver and his boss. "What a mess. See what they did and couldn't say sorry. They just ruined my all-night work to be delivered right now. Oh God." She sadly bent over, carried her roasted plantains and walked away. At the company, Michael eventually got the contract and it was called to be celebrated. He informed his father and they both planned to celebrate it that day. He told his secretary to inform others about team dinner, and to their surprises they were all amazed because it has never happened before for him to celebrate over his wins. Although it wasn't his first contract to be achieved, how the current one brought out the loving part of him was a mystery to them to debate on. While they were all chatting about it, one of them gave a thought: if it was because the contract was with a global industry with higher positions that could come with many advantages for them. So many conversations occurs between the staff that doesn't have a candid conclusion. In the evening, they all gathered in a hall. The atmosphere was filled with joy. You could tell how happy and free the moment was for Michael. They all talked, cracked jokes, and having fun. During the process, a voice interrupted them and all eyes were over there. It was Elizabeth, the most beautiful woman she calls herself, and the daughter of the owner of a fashion mall which is known globally. Her father was a business partner with Michael's father. Michael's father stood up to welcome her immediately as she beamed happily among them. She congratulated Michael and also thanked his father for inviting her. "But I don't remember telling you to tell her about this," Michael whispered to his father, who smiled off, pretending not to hear. Sorry, I brought something while coming and I am sure you all would like it. It's one of my favorites." She stylishly walked out and came back with her personal security guard to place it on the table. "Tonight, I'm serving fire-roasted golden plantains, glazed with a touch of honey and a hint of cinnamon, perfectly crisp yet tender." They all wowed at the sight of it, getting each for themselves except Michael, who sat still uninterested. "Well, this is yummy," a female staff member said joyously. After the merriment they all dismissed and Elizabeth hurried out to catch up with Michael before he goes. She asked why he was acting cold towards her instead of appreciating her presence in their midst. "Your presence doesn't matter to me. So have a good night rest." He closed the car door, leaving her dumbfounded in panic and exhaustion. When Michael arrived home, his father gave him a package of the roasted plantain which he ignored. His father was sad because of his son's attitude towards all his good intentions of getting him a woman. If he tried withdrawing back, the more his thought and desiring a grandchild worried him to push further. That tells you how life could be so mean and precious to others. The next day Michael's father dressed casually, walked alone into the street, looking around from one store to another, trying to make friends with women whom he could get to know if they have a daughter who might be interested in marrying. He was holding his son's teen picture and a description of his ideal type of woman. He was laughed at, mocked, for stooping so low and looking for a woman for his son. His appearance alone gave the women off key from wanting to know or agreeing to accept his desires. He was fed up, exhausted under the scorching sun. He felt like crying, thinking all sort of things if his son was under a curse or spell for him not to be lucky in getting companion. Or is it because I look wretched to them? But why should they be after wealth? Almost all of them, their interest was knowing if my son is rich. They don't even care how genuine it could be for me to bring myself out. I think disguising this way has taught me a lot better, he said to himself while looking up. At where he was sitting, some hoodlum ran over to him, jacked him up and demanded about the whereabouts of a thief they were running after. The man looked shocked and speechless, staring at him. It provoked the gang leader that he pushed him down harder on the ground, that he wailed in pain. He shouted at him that if he didn't speak up that he would cut off his head. I do not understand what you are talking about. You are dealing with the wrong person, he answered them, but the gang leader was seriously angry that he wanted to hit him on his head, but a strong hand pushed him from the back. Stop it, John. You are hurting an innocent man. I have been watching you from afar, she said, frowning at him, and John responded, asking what was her concern. She stood at him to defend Michael's father that he was not a thief. Yeah, Jessica, I am leaving this man because of you. I know you can't lie, but I thought he should know where the thief I was chasing ran to. You are funny. How do you expect an elderly man like this to see or know whoever you are chasing? She replied back. The hoodlum left to another direction and Jessica squatted in front of Michael's father, apologizing on behalf of the boys. The man was astonished, and delightfully he thanked her for showing up to protect him. She supported him up and took him to her stall. She ran to get him chilled water and then gave him a roasted golden plantain to eat. He was amused by her humility and kindness. Although his buttocks still pains him, but Jessica's warm acceptance gave him joy. He watches how she attended to customers and the way she was hardworking in her business. She was running across the road selling to passengers in the bus and vehicles. This is so sweet. It tastes like what I had eaten before, but it isn't, he smiled while talking alone. How lovely could it be to have a very pretty lady like this for my son? Oh, I think I should give it a try. When he finished saying that, Jessica returned smiling at him and asked if he was okay. Are you single? His question confused her that she busted out laughing, checking out his masculinity. He realized he had asked wrongly and asked her politely again, showing her his son photo. Jessica at first laughed over the gentle-looking young picture of his son. The man laughed along, trying all possibilities to convince her about how good his son is. He then made an offer of paying $200 to her every week just to become their house cook, with that he believed his son would love her, probably by her cooking skills. Jessica replied that she wasn't interested nor ready to settle down maritally. Right there the man broke down in tears on his knees in front of her, pleading. You are a good girl. You will definitely make my old age become ease, even though I may die soon, he said sadly. And why would you die soon? Jessica asked, concerning, supporting him to sit back. He refused, telling her then to show emotional sympathy. Jessica fell for this, wondering what could have made such an old man like him to be so desperate finding a woman for his son. She braced up and assured him of accepting his offer, but it won't be for her sake but for his son. I know, but is there another meaning to the sake? He asked. Jessica told him she will be living at his house as said, but isn't falling in love with his son. She promised to make his son realize the need of desiring a woman to become part of him. The old man wasn't pleased with it but was somehow satisfied for her immense acceptance. He believed the game might hit on her spot instead of another girl. So their deal was made and the man gave her his home address to come resume next day. He left happily while Jessica take a look at the address, rethinking the offer. It came at the right time of need for her and she was glad she did accept it. She set out early the next day, dressed in her best outfit, and stood by the road looking out for a taxi. Just few minutes of waiting, a speedy car drove over to her side, giving her a heartache. She stood there fuming, expecting whoever wanted to get down to come apologize, but she was shocked seeing the same driver who ruined her delivery day days back opening door for the same guy who was rude and proud to her. She turned over to them, but they cared less about her frustration. She walked to them to ask why the driver almost killed her, but she was shushed by the young man like a pig. What? Are you for real? Didn't you see what you did? Hey, I am talking to you. Come back here. You should apologize to me, young man, she flares at them after them. Go get a better shower before talking to me, the young boss said in a bossy utterance, leaving her shock. She looked pained and embarrassed and quietly returned to the road, shedding tears silently. She has never been so humiliated and talked like that in her whole life. She eventually alighted from a taxi in front of the said address. At first she thought the taxi driver took her to a wrong place until she saw the name of the address written by the entrance of the big gate. She was stunned, looking around. Could it be that the old man had disguised himself to be poor to get a sincere woman for his son? Wow, this house is big and beautiful, she got to the gate and then called the man. Minutes later the gate opened by itself to her amazement. The man beckoned her from afar, then they both entered the house. Jessica's expression was so obvious that the man told her she shouldn't be surprised. He apologized for not looking who he was when they met. Without wasting of time, he showed her the kitchen and explained what his son likes and doesn't like. Jessica understood all and was left alone in the kitchen. She felt like she was in paradise, seeing how beautiful it was decorated. The man returned and gave her a paper of commitment and agreement to what they planned. She read and then signed it and gave the man his own while she kept hers. He told her not to forget her closing hour is after his son finished eating and by weekend she must sleep over. She nodded her head in acknowledgement, beaming at him. 2 hours later she sat in the living room communicating on call with her mother. She told her about starting a job that will change their life, and she has hoped that her son would finally get the financial needs of operating his eyes surgery she has been hoping for. She spoke with her son, who was extremely happy to hear from her. When she was tired of sitting, she went to the kitchen to get juice from the fridge and started drinking happily. She was carried away in joy without noticing if anyone was coming until she heard a voice behind. Who are you? The voice made her jerk and immediately she knew the man's son has returned. She tidled to the front immediately and instantly her happiness turned sore and shocking. What? They both shouted together, talking without giving each other a saying. Michael, it's enough, the man uttered at the entrance. This is your son? Like how? Why? And who the hell is she? Why is she in my house? Where is Stella, father? Michael's father was speechless watching both of them. He expected his son to be surprised by who she is, but not to the point he would look so pissed off. She's our new cook, the old man answered blatantly, didn't want to interfere about knowing if they knew each other. I am sorry, I can't do this job. I have to go. Jessica walked through them to leave the house. The old man ran after her to stop her, but she was gone in a flash. He stood by the entrance, trying to imagine what could have made her gone without looking back. He calmed his son to stop bluntly and he should explain what happened. Michael refuses, opposing his father from bringing her into their house. For many days, he kept refusing accepting Jessica. This got his father fed up and he went back to see Jessica. When she saw him, she frowned, but because the man was kind in his approach and intentions, she forego her anger and related happily with him. She told him why she stepped back from their deal and the man laughed in a bit. He told her she should have explained to him instead of walking away. He accepted his son's fault and made her understood why Michael was too harsh at her. She signed and criticized him for still acting too much. The old man felt remorseful on behalf of his son and apologized. He begged her to return, and after so much utterance, she finally accepted because of him, but within her it was because of her son. She arrived at Michael's house again and prepared breakfast before he woke up. When he did, he was called by his father to eat and he was surprised by all the meals. So Stella is back, he asked, looking at his father. Just have your breakfast, son. He sat down, looked around and called Stella, expecting her appearance, but Jessica showed up. His food almost choked him on sighting her. Tiwa, what is she? He asked frankly. We will talk about it later, for now you just have to accept her, his father answered and left the dining. Good morning, Mr. Michael. What? He stares at her annoyingly, spattering the juice towards her. You still have the gut to return. I bet it with you that you aren't staying or cooking here for me. He walked out from her. Working every day in the house wasn't easy for Jessica, having a hard time with Michael to the extent he doesn't eat her food. One evening she waited for long expecting him until he arrived home drunk with someone she knew. "Elizabeth. How are you?" Elizabeth was surprised to see her and then remembered the annoying person Michael had talked about living in his home that probably leads to his drunken state. She never imagined it to be Jessica. At some point she was grateful because it makes Michael have a time with her. So she smiled at Jessica and told her to take care of him. Immediately she left. Michael's father came out and was flabbergasted seeing his son so drunk. What could have happened? He has never been this drunk for a long time. Take him in and take him to bed. But why me, sir? I thought. You can do this, Jessica, the man answered and left. Jessica looked at drunkard Michael and held him tight to her body. He groans, pushing her back from touching him. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone. How dare you touch me? What gave you the audacity to do so? Oh, what is that your name again? No, you are just a mess. A very big mess to me. While he was talking, Jessica ignored his flattering words and supported him into his room. He falls, facing down on the bed, grunting and whispering continuously. I don't know what you are going through, but I believe you should let go of your past and be happy, she uttered quietly while taking off his socks. When she pushed him over to remove his coat, he subconsciously grabbed her waist, which makes her gasps. Their eyes fixed to one another. He smiled, caressing her hair. You are finally back. I knew you would come back for me. I have missed you so much. But a little rat has been frustrating the hell out of me since she started working. No, it was before she started working. He held her head down slowly, making Jessica think he wanted to kiss her until he turned his head sideways and snores. Wow. What a man, she said in disbelief, staring at him. She recalled what he said and thought of who he might be referring to. Could it be his ex-girlfriend? She thought by the bedside. When Michael woke up the next day, he was stunned by his morning lateness. He sank back into the bed to recall what had happened last night, and when he did remember, he froze up on the bed, his eyes popped out in shock. What? What have I done? I hope it's not what I am thinking. No, it's not possible. He banged his head in shame, cursing himself for almost kissing her. He then remembered how Elizabeth was all interested and drunk in him. He acted crazily on the bed, smooching his pillows aggressively. Then Jessica knocked the door to make him aware she was coming inside. His heart fluttered in jeopardy, staring at the door. Immediately Jessica opened the door. He flung his duvet over him and pretended to be sleeping. Why am I acting this way? Who is she for me to be scared? He said to himself, secretly checking out for Jessica. When he saw her coming towards him, he closed his eyes. Jessica knelt in front of him, staring at him for a while. Then she moved her head closer to him. You look handsome while sleeping, but your heart is hot-tempered. Always throwing fist at any little thing. You are definitely lost to the world because of your excess alcohol intake. Look at his smooth, rich face. Ah, I wish mine is like yours. But life struggles couldn't make it possible, most especially because of my. Anyways, she stood up, smiling at his childish behavior last night. But what was in Michael's mind was to hear about the conclusion of what she was saying. Because of her what? He squeezed his face and sneezed out as if he was just waking. He screamed when he saw Jessica, throwing pillows at her to get out from his room. He refused listening to her greetings or whatever she was saying until she closed the door behind her. I think this is better, he said to himself and sank back into the bed. Later in the day, he went out and stood by the dining, not seeing food. His stomach upset him that he bites his lips in devastation. He had refused eating Jessica food every day and now he was really starving. He called out for her and no response. He searched everywhere and didn't see her. Just then, Elizabeth entered and called him from behind. Why are you here? He asked, frowning. Elizabeth giggled and sat comfortably, watching how cute he was. Come have a seat. I brought you my favorite fire-roasted golden plantains, glazed with a touch of honey and a hint of cinnamon. You will love it. Leave my house this minute. he said to her, but she looked calm. She stood up, walked gently at him and gave him a loving smiles. She confessed her love to him again, telling him she won't give up. Just then his father came out and she greeted him happily. "Who owns this?" "I brought it for him, Papa," she answered, and the man looked at his son, who doesn't care. He thanked Elizabeth, who was looking all happy. She then took her leave. Michael became angry watching how his father sat down to devour what she brought. He banged the table, frightening him. "You see why she won't even give up on this? Because you are always like this. Always accepting every single thing. But this plantain is so delicious. You should eat it. Darn, I have a glutton father. By the way, where is your house cook or whatever? I am hungry." She left. Michael's expression changed immediately to his father's surprise. He asked why, but his father refuses to tell him. He goes in worriedly and returned looking more worried, thinking he was the cause of her leaving in the morning. He quickly grabbed the remaining plantain before his father took it and started eating it. His father was surprised and asked why he took it, but he gave no response. "Is she coming back?" he asked, hoping to get a positive reply. "Why not, she is." Michael's heart became eased and relieved. He left his father, returning to his room. Jessica waited for her son outside his school, and in no time the pupils were out. When she sighted her son, she ran to him and carried him up. The boy was extremely happy to see her. She gisted with him, telling him how she had waited to see him again. She took him to amusement park, got him what he needed, and had a fun time with him. Seeing him again reminded her of her past. Her African lover whom she had her baby for. He died the day she gave birth. It was a saddened day for her. Although his family refused her from getting close to them after his death, but sometimes she would go to his grave and mourn him. When he was alive, his family rejected her because she was half-caste. A British Nigeria born. Her mother came from Nigeria, meanwhile his parents were Nigerians, so they wanted a typical Nigeria woman for their son. So she has been taking care of her son alone. She believed if her father was alive, things won't have been the way it is. He died a year ago after he was swept off all his life earnings by fraudsters that couldn't be tracked. While reminiscing all these, tears were dropping down her cheeks. Her phone vibrated to alert her of her evening job at Michael's house. She hurriedly took her son and went straight to Michael's house. When she arrived, she saw Michael sitting, and immediately he rose up to meet her. He asked why she left without making breakfast in the morning. She stood paused, wondering if she heard right. "I am talking to you," he said again, and she stepped back. Just then he realized she was with a boy. He asked whose child he is, and instead of her to answer, she walked away. He was fuming within, holding back his anger. He banged his head for acting nicely to her. When it was time to eat, he was salivating and quickly hurried to the dining, and to his surprise, he saw them eating without him. His father snubbed him, and it annoyed him the more. "Are you satisfied, Josh? Do you want more?" "Mama will give you okay." Jessica smiled at her son while Michael stood confusingly, looking like a puppet in cold weather. He was so anxious that he couldn't stay back, and he ran into his room. He opened his bedside locker and took out a tablet and swallowed to ease himself. The door rattles and he looked back and saw Jessica holding a cup of coffee. She dropped it and said he should drink it since he doesn't like eating her food. He got angry, facing her. "How dare you dictate on my behalf? What made you think you can stop cooking for me even if I don't eat? You are just a nuisance. You are very lazy and wicked. Don't you ever try this shit again in my house," he uttered in a shaking expression. "Then you should get yourself a wife. Do you think I look like a puppet you could order around? And do you think a woman would live with a nagging man like you? You know what, you are just too full of yourself. Learn how to tolerate others around you. With that, you can move on from judging others based on your past experiences. Learn to appreciate and embrace your current life, because this moment is what you should depend on," she answered, holding a firm expression, and left his room. He was shocked, almost going crazy for what he heard. He opened his window and screamed out aggressively, panting intensively. He couldn't believe he could be so calm to listen to her gibberish. He flares up, throwing tantrum, and the coffee mug fell and broke. He is acting weird, Jessica whispered to his father by the door as they listened. The old man told her not to worry, that she has definitely brought out the expected change from his son. He laughed peacefully, patted her shoulder for doing well. At the company the next day, Michael sat in his office deeply in thought. He was returned by the attention of his advisor. He had brought a project file to finalize on. He asked if Michael was okay, but he kept looking confused and worried. Am I harsh? Do I look full of myself? Is there something that I should change about me? He continues to ask without giving his advisor the chance to answer. I think I should come back, he said to Michael and left. Some minutes later Elizabeth entered looking radiant. She woke sleeping Michael and asked if he was okay. He asked why she came and she brought out her usual plantains, rendering it to him. He stood up and asked again why she came. Just to see your face, Michael. Then you should leave because I have something to do. He answered while turning back at her. Elizabeth then tried to make their conversation lively by reminding him of her father's proposed partnership with them. All her saying were not welcome with Michael at all. Instead he decided to leave, telling her to go as well. Elizabeth's heart sank sadly watching him go. He entered his car and he was taken out to a destination, said to his driver. When they arrived at a traffic station, he saw Jessica entering a taxi and he immediately ordered his driver to follow her. When the taxi stopped, it was in front of a hospital. He peeped from where he is, wondering what had taken her there. He waited until she came out and entered a taxi and followed her. And this time it was in front of a house he expected to be her house. He was in the car for some time until he concluded in his mind to go see her without delay. Immediately he opened the door, he saw Jessica getting pushed to the floor. He closed the door back in shock to see what was going on. She was crying and talking furiously to the extent a man came out carrying a bucket of water and looking with the intention of pouring it on her. Michael stepped out of the car and ran over there, unknowingly to the man splashed the water on him instead of Jessica and her son. They were shocked and questioned who he was. He frowned at them and helped Jessica and her son back to his car. He drove them to his house and at the right time he knew he could talk to her, he did by his father present. Jessica cried profusely, having no choice than to let out her struggles journey. What her late lover family has been doing to her. They dejected her, always venting high on her from listening to her stories. They also made her understood they had cut ties with her ever since their son demised. She explained to them that she only went there to seek for immediate assistance about her son's surgery. Michael and his father looked sympathizing and encouraged her to be strong for her son. Michael promised to be there for her and also take charge of the surgery expense. Jessica exclaimed, not knowing what to say. Michael's father was happy within for his son's generosity because what he wanted was what is happening. For days Jessica was indoor very sick and having mental trauma. Michael stayed back home or goes to work and returned early to look after her. He will cook, carried her child from school and also have a happy time with them. When Elizabeth heard about Michael's absence at work and how he has focused on Jessica, she became angry and visited his house. When she arrived, she was pained to see him playing outside the house with Jessica's son. She acted nicely, asking why he decided to deviate from what should be necessary. Michael gave no response she expected and told her to go. She walked over to him, staring into his eyes. So do you mean Jessica is whom your heart beat for? She asked frankly, but no response. Are you so low that you could fall for a single mother? What happened to an elegant woman like me? She has nothing to offer you. And you don't even know her than I do. She is in half caste. Do you think you can date a Nigerian blood? She will definitely ruin your life like her past lover. She is a slut. Get your eyes cleared, Michael, open your eyes. She said again and in a very deeming utterance. She left angrily when Michael gave her no attention. She got home and thought of what to do. She didn't get why Jessica turns down her offer of making Michael love her. Oh, this was all her plans. She thought she could trick me to woo Michael to herself. She lied. I will make sure she regretted taking over what belongs to me. At Michael's house, Jessica became someone Michael was lively with. They both forget their differences and became friends overnight. When they were interacting, Jessica brought up Elizabeth's request to her by initiating the good description of how compatible they would be. She urged Michael to give her a chance and discard his unmarried mentality. Why are you supporting her? Has she paid you for this? If she has, then don't think I will accept your sweet talk about her. He said. Well, I think it is for your good. And I do see how she check on you, always showing her true feelings, but you acted blindly to all. Please Michael, accept her, okay? She looked childish at him. What made you think I am desperate for love? Do I look like someone that lack love or affection? He asked. Jessica smiled, blinking her eyes to make him think about her request. She playfully splashed flour on his face and he looked frowned. Her son laughed wholeheartedly, pointing at him. Are you doing this because of Elizabeth? He asked, beaming stylishly, and Jessica nodded and wanted to apologize, thinking she has offended him. He then packed the flour and poured on her face as well, and he and Josh laughed happily because of her disfigured look. They turned the moment to a playful one, chasing after each other joyfully. Michael's father stood by the door watching them happily. He has never seen his son so playful and happy-free for a long time. Days later, Jessica took her son to the hospital for the surgery. His eyes have swelled and needed urgent operation. Thankfully, Michael has provided all the necessary bill. He was supposed to follow her, but an urgent business came up. During the surgery, Jessica was sitting outside praying silently for successful operation. Her mother called her, encouraging her that everything would be fine. Even at the business meeting he was texting her continuously to cheer her up. 3 hours later, the surgeon came out, a weary expression which frightens her. She asked how it was and he said it was fine. Her heart sank joyfully, peace saturated her soul as she sighed deeply in a relief. Oh, thank God. Thank you, God, for coming through. I am so happy, very happy. I believe this storm is over, amen. She cried thankfully, all alone. Immediately after the meeting, Michael hurried over to join her and they returned home together. They were told Josh would be discharged in 2 days and they were eagerly expecting it. Elizabeth visited again and was surprised seeing Jessica living comfortably in Michael's house. She called to talk to her privately before Michael shows up. She asked if she now has interest in Michael, but Jessica denied immediately. She made her understood all her effort trying to make Michael think about her. Really? Elizabeth asked and Jessica nodded. She then asked about her son's health. Jessica told her he will be discharged next day. Elizabeth smirked and left without a word. Michael came and Jessica intentionally leave them alone after engaging them in conversation. After some time, Michael opened Jessica's room and saw her sleeping. He bent over, smiling deeply at her. He couldn't control himself till he started caressing her hair. You are a healer to my hurt soul. You are just like her. Very loving and attractive. But she died. She was gone the day we were supposed to wed. I missed her so much. I longed to see her again without thinking about another woman. I truly miss her, but your presence has gradually shown her replicate. I love you, Jessica, I just don't know how to showcase it. I love you. He cried while talking and Jessica opened her eyes. He jerked back, falling, not knowing he had speak out. I am sorry. He dashed out of the room while telling her. Jessica sat up, pitying him and doubting if she truly heard him confessing his feelings to her. She then imagined what could have occurred between him and Elizabeth. The next day, she finished cooking and waited to see him, but he didn't come out of his room. She stood by his door contemplating if she should knock or not. When she checked the time and realized it was time to go to the hospital to bring her son, she then hurried out and headed to the hospital. Finally they were discharged and entered a taxi to return to her house. She hugged her son firmly, thinking about her life and connecting it to Michael's confession to her. When her son asked about him, she lied to him that he had traveled and couldn't fulfill his promise of coming with her to take him at the hospital. All of a sudden the driver started accelerating on high speed, which scares her. He then told her they have been followed by unknown vehicle. She looked back and didn't see any vehicle. She wanted to scream at him and her head was hit like a bang. She woke up in a dark room with a reflection of light through a hole. She saw her son lying down shivering and her heart pounded in fear. She wailed silently because her mouth has been taped. Her feet and hands were tied to the back. She wept bitterly watching her helpless son. She was forcing to release herself, but she had no power. "Somebody help. Help," she cried. She wondered who could have kidnapped her. She couldn't fathom who she might have offended. She believed her late lover family couldn't have done that to her because they don't even care about her. Meanwhile, Michael has been restlessly calling her line continuously and it was switched off. He had gone to the hospital and was told she is gone. He informed his father and the man too was worried. He followed Michael to her house and the doors were locked. Michael called out her name repeatedly, panicking at the top of his voice. So many thoughts was bombarding his head. When it was night he couldn't sleep, tossing around the bed thinking about her. Early the next day he left the house and went to the police station and reported about Jessica. And immediately, operation started all around. Elizabeth heard about it and ran to meet Michael at his office after calling him that he didn't pick. She consoled him and tried to take advantage of the moment to seduce him, but Michael pushed her away angrily, frightening her. "Why? Why, Michael? I am also worried over her. I came because I knew how you care about her and you will be worried. And is this the appropriate way to act worriedly with me? Elizabeth, out of my office this minute. Get out." He yelled at her and she walked out quickly. At where Jessica was tied, she was drastically tortured and very weak. The door flung open and she heard a voice whimpering. She recognized the shoes from below and immediately raised her head. "Elizabeth," she uttered in her mind, crying. Elizabeth goes closer to her and hit her head, aggressively cursing her for coming into Michael's life. "How dare you take over my spot in his heart? How can you take over my desires I was hoping to take full possession of? How dare you? He only think about you. He doesn't give me a chance anymore to at least have a time out with me once in a while since his heart lingered for you. And you promised me you won't let that happen. I have done this before, and I will do it again, but this time around yours will be different," Elizabeth said, and Jessica wept. She was shocked hearing Elizabeth. She never imagined her to be so obsessed to the extent of going dangerous. She had only regarded her as a good and lovable woman. So all her thought were all failure. Two men entered and one of them took out a syringe. She struggles with them and she was injected. Her mouth was uncovered and she faintly asked Elizabeth of her son. When she didn't reply, she screamed with all her might. "Where is Josh? Where is my son, Elizabeth?" "No." She fell down, her eyes became dizzy, her body became paralyzed and her lips trembled. She groans in pain, rolling around. Michael's restlessness and negative report from the station weighed him down. He went to an outside bar and drank, thinking about Jessica. His driver had to support him to the car. "Where is Jessica?" He pushed his driver away, demanding to see her. Just then his phone rang and he picked immediately. "What? Where?" He hanged up and went to the driver's seat. He started the car to his driver confusion and drove away, leaving him behind. He arrived at a police car's gathering and saw them carrying someone into the ambulance van. He ran, almost falling down, but he was stopped by some officers. They told him to be calm. "Nunu, I should see her. Is she okay? Is she fine?" He was asking questions rhetorically, not knowing he was displaying too much. His driver showed up behind and quickly dragged him back to the car. He carried him home, and yet Michael was acting weird under the influence of the alcohol. He woke up the next day in pain and immediately he recalled last night, quickly dressed up and hurried out. While he drove to the hospital, he was texted on his phone. When he got there, he was recognized immediately and was taken to Jessica's room. He saw her in a life support machine battling for her life. He fell on his knees sadly, memories of the past flashes back and he grabbed his head tightly in remembrance. He couldn't withstand the situation Jessica is. He blamed himself for not going to the hospital with her. He blamed himself for acting without thinking. He blamed himself for everything that happened. He cried and cried, wailing on a spot. His father also entered and was shocked. The old man sat down looking down sadly. The doctor entered and then informed them of the poisonous injections affecting her. He said they only hope on God for her revival. Outside the hospital, Michael sat down looking pale and troubled. His father sat beside him holding his hands. I will be guilty forever, Father. I don't pray for her death. What exactly is going on again? Why is this again? Jessica. How about Josh, where could he be? I am going crazy this moment, Father. He uttered bitterly in distress. He remembered Josh's family. All his mind was that they must have been responsible to Jessica's situation just because of Josh. He stood up, walked faster to his car, ignoring his father's calls behind. He stopped in front of a house and when he saw a young man of his age outside, he attacked him, grabbed his shirt and started punching him, demanding for Josh. The young man was confused, thinking he was crazy. They both exchanged blows and Michael hit me harder. Other relative came out to separate them, but Michael was too crazy to grab. His phone beeped and he picked it. Immediately he left the scene and returned to the hospital. He ran speedily like a flash entry where Jessica is. He saw her eyes opened and he quickly grabbed her right hand, asking if she was okay. My son, my Josh. Jessica uttered faintly, tears dropping down. He told her not to worry, that he will get her late lover family arrested because he believed they were the ones behind everything. No, no, Michael. Please save my son. Rescue him, please. She said slowly. Michael asked where he is and she mentioned Elizabeth, telling him to get her arrested to save her son. What do you mean? Why mentioning Elizabeth? The old man asked, but to Michael without hesitation he called the detective to order for Elizabeth's arrest. Why? His father asked confusingly and annoyed. You just heard her. Elizabeth should be arrested. Michael responded. He called Elizabeth's line and it was switched off. He then knew that something was fishy about Elizabeth. Meanwhile, Elizabeth has been informed that Jessica was hospitalized instead of burying her as expected. She knew if she should miraculously wake up she would mention her name. So she quickly ransacked her belongings, took some few things and ready to go far away. She was asked what to do with Josh earlier and she gave them order to discard him. So she looked around, then opened her door. She flinched back frightfully at the sight of the cops' men. You are under arrest. No, for what? Why? This is wrong. She stuttered while being taken away. Michael was called and he rushes down to the station. When he saw Elizabeth he felt like squeezing her alive. She broke down tearfully and said Josh could have been dead. Michael had almost exploded as he paraded about. Elizabeth was taken out to direct them to where Josh is. They all set out and then arrived at a building. At the top is Josh struggling and crying in the hands of some masked men. He has been tied and ready to be thrown from the high building. Michael shouted that Elizabeth should ordered him to free him and she scorned him. Take him back there, UBA starred. Let him live. He shouted loudly. Right in front of them Elizabeth refuses to speak until the rope tied to Josh was cut and his body was thrown down. Michael ran like his life was about to end. Other officers was after him. Thankfully the distance wasn't much and Josh landed on Michael's arm with the support of others. Michael injured his left leg, limping off from the ground. He held Josh closely to his chest, controlling himself from crying. At last Elizabeth was detained and Josh was treated at the hospital, and yet Jessica haven't recovered fully. Elizabeth confessed to be responsible to Michael's fiancé and his brother death. She said his brother was just a victim of circumstances. The news shocked Michael and his father. They realized Elizabeth's obsession and ability she had to destroy his lovers. The law was proceeded and she was sentenced to 80 years imprisonment on probation if eventually Michael would raise the verdict of setting her free. Jessica was finally recovered after spending close to a month in the hospital. Michael was there for her all through. And when her mother arrived, he was wowed by her beauty. His assumption that Nigerians are ugly changed his perception. They laughed when he said that, and right in front of his family he proposed to Jessica, who looked stunned. She looked over to Michael's father and the old man's face was written in joy. He winked at her and she smiled in joy to accept Michael's proposal. It was a joyful day for the family. Everyone was happy for them and their wedding was done peacefully in a glamorous way. "Thank you for accepting me whole. I don't even think I could get another chance to be loved again, and not just loved by you but by your family," she muttered while resting on Michael's chest. "Let me ask you a question. So if you could accept me so easily, when have you been in love with me?" he asked, and Jessica laughed. "I started loving you the day I realized your kindness and how precious I am to you. The day you came as a shield to protect me and my son from those who don't cherish me and my son. I fell deeply in love with you that day because it looked so passionate and sincere to me," she answered, and he patted a kiss on her forehead. "Elizabeth was such a proud and lazy person she is. I knew she couldn't boil a simple egg, not to talk of roasting or frying a plantain. She was using you to showcase the skills she doesn't me," Michael said, and they both laughed out happily over it. I hope you enjoyed the story. In life we should always learn how to move on from the past and embrace the moment we are. And getting obsessed with what doesn't belong to us might end up leading us to a dangerous part of life. Let's learn to let go of things and love ourselves. The end result of evildoers is always in regret. Don't forget to subscribe and comment below. Do not mind my vocabularies, I will be improving gradually. Thank you very much.